In this video, I'm going to talk about graphing linear equations. So I am going to talk about how to graph an equation when it is in slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form looks like this: y equals mx plus b. M and b represent numbers. Your x and y in your equation are still going to be x and y. So for example, this would look like something like y equals 2x plus 3, or y equals negative 6x minus 4, or y equals, you can have fractions too, 1/2 x plus 5. Let's do one more example. Y equals negative 2/3 x minus 6. Okay, so all of these equations are in slope-intercept form because they look like y equals mx plus b. If you have an equation that's not in slope-intercept form, I would recommend manipulating it and moving things around so that it does look like slope-intercept form. So for example, if you have something like 2x plus y equals 6x minus 4. So right now, this is not in slope-intercept form. Just to remind you, I'm going to write it off to the side. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So it should look like that, where the y is by itself, and then on the other side of the equal sign, we have a number with x, and then plus a constant. So to get this equation into slope-intercept form, I'm going to subtract this 2x over to the other side, because again, you can do whatever you want to an equation as long as you do the same thing to both sides. So then those will cancel out, and then I'll get y equals 6x minus 2x would be 4x minus 4. Now you can see it's in slope-intercept form. It looks like y equals mx plus b. So if you have an equation that's not in slope-intercept form, just try to get it into slope-intercept form, because then it's a lot easier to graph from there. So now I'm going to talk about how to graph an equation when it's in slope-intercept form. So m in this equation represents the slope, and b in this equation represents the y-intercept. That's why this equation is called slope-intercept form, because it's very easy to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So let's talk about slope. Slope is, some people learn it like rise over run. So when you're talking about the graph, the rise would be how far up or down you go, and then the run would be how far left or right you go. Okay, so sometimes slope is easier if it's a fraction. So let's say the slope is 1/2. So this is my equation. Y equals 1/2 x plus 3. Okay, so the slope would be 1/2. So that means the 1 would be the rise, which means it goes up 1 on the graph. And then the 2 would be the run. So it's going to go right 2 on the graph. We'll graph that in a minute so that you can see what it does. Then the y-intercept in this equation would be 3. So that means on your graph, this is your y-axis right here. So if the y-intercept is 3, then that means you're going to have a point right here at 3 on the y-axis. Intercept is where your line crosses the y-axis. So let's see what this would look like if I graphed it. If I had y equals 1/2 x plus 3, So the y-intercept is 3, so I would start up here at 3 and put a point. And then the 1 over 2 for the slope means I go up 1, right 2. So I'll go up 1, right 2, put another point. So I usually start with the y-intercept. I always think of that as my starting point. And then the slope tells me which way to go from there. And then you can keep repeating it. Again, I can go up 1 and over 2 and put another point. And up 1 and over 2 and put another point. You can keep going as far as you want. You can tell where this line's gonna go. So you could even go backwards, and I could go down 1 and backwards 2 and put a point there. And down 1 and backwards 2 and put a point there. The more points you have, the easier it is to draw a straight line. So you can just keep putting as many points as you want. Most teachers want you to put at least 3 points to help you draw a straight line. And that's how you graph an equation in slope-intercept form. Let's look at another example. I'm going to put some negatives in here. So let's say I have a negative 2 over 3x, and let's make this one negative 2, minus 1. So my y-intercept on this one would be negative 1 because of this negative 1 here. And then the slope would be negative 2/3 because of this negative 2/3 here. So I think of my y-intercept as my starting point. So I'm going to start down at negative 1 down here, put a point. And then because my slope is negative, instead of going up 2, I'm going to go down 2. So then I go down 2 and then over 1, 2, 3 and put a point. And then I can also go backwards. So I can go up 2, up 1, 2, and then backwards 1, 2, 3 and put a point there. And then connect the dots and draw your line. So something to keep in mind, if you have a positive slope, your line's going to be going up like this. If we're reading the graph from left to right, the line goes up. If you have a negative slope, then the line goes down like this. Again, reading the graph from left to right. So you're reading it from left to right. If it's positive, it'll go up. If it's negative, it'll go down. Let's look at just one more example. Let's say your slope is not a fraction. So let's say it's just a negative 2x plus 3. So again, my y-intercept is going to be 3 because of this plus 3 right here. And then the slope is negative 2 because of this negative 2 right here. Now we talked about how slope is sometimes easier if it's a fraction. So think about, how can I make that negative 2 look like a fraction? Well, what you can do is you can put it over 1, because negative 2 divided by 1 is just equal to negative 2. So we didn't change the value, we just made it look different. So it still equals negative 2, but now it looks like a fraction, so I can have my rise over run. And then we're just going to graph this the same way. So our starting point, or our y-intercept, is at 3. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, point there. And then the slope, because it's negative 2, I'm going to go down 2, and then over 1. Down 2, over 1. Down 2, over 1. And I can go up 2 and backwards 1. And up 2 and backwards 1. And then I can draw my line. Oops, that was not straight at all. So there is just a quick overview of how to graph a linear equation when it is in slope-intercept form. I hope this helped. Please like and subscribe if you found this helpful. And please let me know if you have any other questions in the comments or if there are any other math topics that you would like me to cover in a future video. Thanks for watching.